What's going on, guys? Zennosh here, and today in this video of Calibria Crystal Guardians, I am presenting to you guys a guide and inside a review on a recently released unit known as Bone King. It's a very amazing unit indeed, very interesting also. Okay, there are so many things that you can do with him, and he is really capable of a lot of damage output, plus he can actually provide a lot of benefit to the team as well. And I really love those kind of units who can actually provide a lot of perks to the entire team. All right, and we have the Bone King right over here. Now let's discuss about him right off the bat. What makes him so unique and so amazing indeed, and why you should really pull him up right off the bat if you get the chance. Okay, so right off the bat, right over here with the basic detail is his name is Bone King. Is of evil class. He's like attack type unit. Okay, that means like he's gonna deal a lot of damage. He's a 5-star nat hero unit. There we go. At the level of 35, he's gonna have a HP of 14,205, which is pretty high for an attack type hero unit, which is really good. Defense is 713, which is pretty average. Attack is 1183. That's a little bit below average than compared to other attack type hero units. Speed is going to be 96, which is also a little bit below average. Okay, not by far, but just a bit average. Like below average. So not really that commendable stats indeed as an attack type hero unit. But when it comes to the skill tree, things are going to change right over here, guys. He's too insane. Right over here. First thing, Undead Rip. Attack an enemy to deal 365% of attack in damage. Alright, there we go. That's really high damage multiplier right off the bat, right over there. 50% chance to slow the target because like 10% debuff trigger rate boost will be got from the, skill enhancement. Okay, for one turn, there we go. You can pretty much slow a target really nicely. After attack has finished, regain 5% energy for every 30% of own crit damage. Holy mother. Okay, so that's really awesome. If you are pretty much confused on what critical damage really is, it's a sort of like stat boost that you can gain from your rune build. Okay, just try to get a lot of critical damage stat on his stats. Okay, and then like he's gonna be more and more effective. For example, what if he can actually stack up to 300 critical damage, right? That means 300 divided by 30, that's a 10 multiplier, right? 5% energy for every 30% of own crit damage. That means 5 times 10. That's going to be 50% of energy recovery right at the bat when he uses his first skill. If he has 300 critical hit damage stats on his stat panel, okay? So that's really amazing. You can pretty much get his next turn really super fast. It's gonna be a very fast unit, which is obviously gonna make him very effective not only in the PvP content but also in the PvE content. I mean, like, he's an attack type unit, guys. I mean, like, faster he can get his next turn, that means he will be able to unleash a lot of damage to the opponent, and that's what you would really want to have with him. Undead Rip, one of the really best first skill out there, guys. It's too good, and it also really synergizes with his type because like he's an attack type unit. More critical damage he has, the more damage he's gonna deal, and with more damage as well at the same time he's gonna have that energy boost. Jesus Christ, that's really great. Okay, Undead Rip, this skill is really good for like any content out there. The next one is gonna be the Undead Slice, the first version of his second skill. Attack an enemy to deal 535% of attack in damage. That's a very high multiplier indeed, attack damage multiplier. And 100% chance because a 15% debuff trigger rate boost will be can be get from the skill enhancement. Okay, so 100% chance to stun the target for one turn, which is really great, especially for the PvP content. Like, let's say you are starting a battle right off the bat, and you would really want to just like kind of separate a unit to the side because like that opponent can actually be a very problematic one. Okay, if you just can't stun that opponent, that means like that opponent is going to be incapacitated for that turn. He won't be able to use any sort of skills. Okay, and with that very high damage multiplier at the same time as well, you might even actually be able to land a killing blow. Okay, so there we go. If you cannot actually manage to get a killing blow, at least you will be able to incapacitate that opponent for at least one turn, which is really great, especially for the PvP content, because like there are many units out there which can really spell a lot of trouble for you, right? And then you can just get rid of them right off that. And you might be also arguing that like his attack type unit, obviously you won't be having a lot of speed stat on him that might not allow him to actually outspeed those opponents. Don't worry guys, I mean like he has energy on his side first of all, and the next thing is that like you can use a lot of energy boosting units, like let's say a demonic swordsman, right? This kind of units will help him to get first turn right at the bat. Okay, just try to plan your team more strategically in the PvP battle and you will have better hand against your opponent. Whereas for the PvE content, or let's say in the general story content, I would not really prefer the stun a lot. Okay, I just love the really good raw damage on AoE basis. Okay, AoE, raw damage, high damage, that's gonna be the best thing, especially for the PvE content. Okay, or let's say poison dot skills. Stun is really for the PvP content. And after attack has finished, 10% chance to receive an additional attack turn for every 30% of own critical damage. Now remember guys, what if his critical damage stat is gonna be 300%? That's gonna be a 10 multiplier, right? So 10 times 10, 100% guys. 100% chance to receive an additional attack turn right off the bat. Oh my god. Not only you will be able to deal a very high damage against a single opponent, and also at the same time stunning that one with the 100% chance, you are going to get an extra turn. That means you can pretty much use his first skill right off the bat, Undead Rip, okay, because like sadly all of his 30 skills are passive skill. Okay, you are going to follow up with his first skill and no problem at all. You know why? Because like if you have 300% of critical damage stat, he's gonna have a 50% energy refillment right at the bat. That means like he's gonna get his another turn really fast. Okay, I mean like just think how menacing he can actually be with his Berserk runes. Just imagine how good he can actually be with Berserk runes. I just cannot even start to imagine, guys. Just insane. It's insanity, okay? I mean, like, it's just too good. Oh, man. Okay, there we go. So right at the bat, just try to build a lot of critical damage stat on him, and he's gonna be a really unstoppable force indeed, because like obviously at the same time he's going to deal a lot of damage, right? I mean like higher the critical damage stat, that means like more damage. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. That's gonna be the Undead Slashing. That's the second version of the second skill. Attack an enemy 3 times. Okay, so that's a repeated attack. Each attack deals 215% of attack. That's a total of like 645% of attack multiplier in damage, and has a 50% chance. Okay, is there a booster? No. 50% chance to reduce the target's defense for 2 turns. Don't worry guys, he is going to attack like 3 times with a 50% chance to reduce the target defense. That is really great indeed. Okay, if it was just like one time hit, then 50% chance is just like 50-50 chance. But if when it comes at like 3 times in a row, 50% chance is a lot actually. All right, for 2 turns, that's really great. Each attack has a 10% chance to ignore target's defense. Holy mother, like what? Yeah, like each attack has a 10% chance to ignore the target's defense and all buffs, including invincible, for every 30% of own critical damage. Just think, if you have 300% of critical damage stat, what's gonna happen is that like he's gonna have 100% chance to ignore the target's defense and all buffs, including invincibility. Jesus, this is something else. Okay, I mean like, guys, there is gonna be a total attack multiplier of about 645% of attack in damage, and that's gonna be a very huge nuke, and that huge nuke is actually going to ignore the target's defense totally, as long as he has 300% of critical damage stat. And there's going to be a really high chance to reduce the target defense for 2 turns. That obviously is going to be very great, especially for the battle against the boss units. Okay, if you can actually decrease their defense, that means like you can actually open up the gate towards higher damage output against the boss units. Even boss unit, this is really great. Even for the PvP con, you can pretty much like just one-shot any unit out there, guys. Just one-shot them, okay? Which is really great. Which is really great. It has a cooldown of only 3 turns, which is really fast to get, considering that you are going to give him a Berserk rune plus, you know, his first skill having that 50% of energy refillment right off the bat. If you have like 300% of critical hit damage stat, so that is really great, guys. I mean, wow. For PvP content, you can pretty much, you know, like one-shot a unit with this one without any doubt at all, provided that you have a really good critical damage. I mean, like, even if you have critical damage stat of about like 150% only, it's still going to be very, very fine indeed, in my opinion. Okay, not problem at all. 300% is pretty much the ideal thing, which can actually be a little bit hard to attain, but I really don't think that it's gonna be really that impossible in the near future. Okay, so undead slashing, this is one of the best skill right out there, guys. I mean, like, this is really good. Really good. I mean, like, if there is going to be a really impossible type of tank unit in the opponent team, which you are really having a very hard time to get rid of them, you can pretty much use this skill. You know what? Especially the units like pesky units, tanky units, problematic units. Undead slashing, guys. Undead slashing. Okay. Now let's move on to the third skill, first version. That's going to be the piercing hollow. While alive, all allies attack have a 70% chance. That's going to be 100% chance thanks to the skill enhancement. 100% chance to deal more damage. That's really good. So how much more? Okay. Initial multiplier is going to be 1 times. That's going to be like the original damage. For every 30% of the Bone King's critical damage, increases multiplier by 0.05. What if you have 300% critical hit damage? Okay. If you have 300% critical damage stat on his stats panel, that means you will have a total of 50% of damage boost. Okay, 50% of damage boost on every type of attacks that comes from your ally towards the opponent, which is like freaking amazing. I mean, like, if you can just, you know, like combine, or let's say, you know, team him up with the very amazing units like nukers, like let's say Eve and Jews. Okay, this is gonna be like insane combination. Okay, it's gonna be just too great. A lot of damage is gonna be there, a lot of damage is gonna be involved, a lot of damage, guys. Wow, I mean, like, this is really good. This is really good. I mean, like, even if you are using the curse of the shaman and you really want to make it ripe, you really want to make it burst really fast, piercing hollow is going to be really useful indeed as well at the same time, because obviously there's going to be additional damage output, which obviously is going to help you in attaining your goal really fast. So I mean, like, higher damage is always welcome, right? And this one is actually providing you can provide you a really great damage boost, which is so good. 50% of the a damage multiplier right off the bat if he has like 300 critical damage stats. So please try to build him up with a lot of critical damage boost, guys. Just try to do it. It's really worth it indeed. I mean, like, 100% chance to deal and more damage by any ally. I mean, like, I just like it. Any kind of skill that provides a very good perk to the entire ally team is just too insane. Okay, this is the thing that I really like. This is the thing I really like. He's not selfish. Okay. Next one is going to be the second version of the third skill. That's going to be the Draining Hollow. It's a passive skill indeed. While alive, 100% chance to imbue all allies attack with a 10% drain effect by default. Okay, for every 30% of the Bone King's critical damage, increases the drain effect by 1%, provided that he has 300% critical damage stat. That means his drain effect will be a total of 10 plus 10, 20% of drain effect, guys. 20% of drain effect. That is something really awesome. Okay, it's not really insignificant. It's really good. It's really good. I just really like it. I mean, like, it will really improve your overall team's health. He's going to actually act as a healer indeed. I mean, like, it's a passive skill, guys. You really don't have to use a particular skill to actually start life stealing from the opponent. You are pretty much going to do it in a passive style. If you are really looking forward for higher endurance, more survivability, then this will be a really good survival option indeed. But I always really go for like extra damage output, so piercing hollow is gonna be really good for me. But if you have not really managed to get a lot of critical damage stat on him, then, you know, like, as a beginner, Draining Hollow can be a really good option for you guys. But whenever you are kind of like entering the realm of the endgame content, then Piercing Hollow is gonna be your best friend. Okay, what about the final version? The third version of the third skill is known as the Undead Spirit. Okay, it's a passive skill indeed. Revive with 30% HP and 100% energy upon death. Okay, so that means like as soon as he revives, he's going to act immediately. Okay, so there we go. What's gonna happen is like for every 30% of Bone King's critical damage, grant a 10% chance to stun all enemies. Provided that he has 300% critical damage stat, he's gonna have 100% chance to stun all enemies. That's so good. Ignores all effects for 1 turn when this skill is triggered. Okay, so oh man, this is really great as well. I mean, like, it can pretty much turn the table in the PvP battle as well if you really are facing a very like you know, like, you are pretty much cornered in the PvP content, and you are going to die as an attack type unit. Obviously, you are going to have lower survivability option. You really don't have any kind of like higher dev stats as well as the HP stat. Well, he has a little bit higher HP than compared to other attack hero units as well, but still he might actually go down, especially facing against the cleaving type units. Okay, if you have the opponents that is very good at dealing the cleaving damage, and it also includes you, and you are pretty much dead, that means like you can pretty much come back to life, stun them, and you are going to have your extra turn right at the bat, and you are going to attack them again. That means like you have a very good control over your units right away, which is gonna be so good, guys. Which is gonna be so good, really good. Oh man, that's really great. Stun is always really good for the PvP content, and there we go. This is purely a PvP type style, you know, like skill indeed. And yeah, so there we go, guys. Grant a 10% chance to stun all enemies for 1 turn when this skill is triggered. Okay, so that's it, and it has a cooldown of like 6 turns at max. Okay, so that's pretty considerable. I mean, like, you are only going to just use it for just 1 time in a battle. I really don't prefer to you guys to fight it, to use it against the fight against the boss units. Okay, or let's say any kind of PvE contents, or let's say the general story content, or let's say the catacombs. I really don't refer to you guys. Okay, but whenever you are going for the PvP content, yes, this can actually be really good, especially if your Bone King is a very squishy unit. Okay, your squishiness can actually be coming into your advantage. It can actually really come to your advantage, especially in the fight against the opponents that are dealing cleaving damage. Okay, so there we go. How about the leader skill? All allied heroes attack plus 33%. That's really great indeed. I just really like it. Okay, this is so good. In every content, in every situation, he's going to provide a 33% of attack for any kind of ally as long as they are present in the team and he's the leader of that team. Okay, and that's pretty much making very unique and very awesome indeed, and it's really too good, guys. And what are the sort of runes that you should really equip him? Okay, what are the runes that is gonna make him really amazing? Let's check it out. Honestly, there are 2 main types of rune that is going to help him a lot. First, obviously, is going to be the Destruction rune. All right, this is going to provide him a 40% boost in critical damage, which is obviously going to be really helpful because, as I told you before, his ideal number is going to be 300%. So you would really want to get any sort of critical damage boost as much as possible. Okay, so there we go. Try to have the critical damage, and obviously get 4 pieces of Destruction set plus 2 pieces of the Wild set. Okay, to have that 12% of increase in critical rate. I mean, like, what use is of the critical damage if you don't have good amount of critical rate, right? So 2 pieces of Wild set and like 4 pieces of the Destruction set is going to be really fine indeed to give him extra critical damage stat, which obviously is going to be really useful for him to be able to channel into his skill in a very optimal manner. Okay, try to just get him at least above 200% of the critical damage, okay, to make him really effective indeed. 300% is going to be the most ideal stuff, okay, which obviously is going to be really hard to achieve indeed. But anyways, that's that, guys. Okay, the next rune set is obviously going to be the Berserk rune set. Okay, well, it will provide him a total of like 30% chance to get the bonus turn, provided that he's actually going to have a lot of energy regain from his first skill, depending on his critical damage stat. Okay, also having the bonus turn at the same time, there's gonna be a really higher chance for him to get the extra turn or the next turn really fast. Okay, and that is really amazing indeed, in my opinion, which is too good. There's gonna be like so many turns involved, and obviously due to the lesser cooldown time of his second skill, he's going to be able to channel into his second skill as well. All right, and which obviously is going to make him able to deal a very massive amount of damage against the opponents. I mean, like, he's going to ignore the defense of the opponent. First thing, it's not a fixed damage. Okay, it's just a type of damage that has the possibility to ignore the defense of the opponent depending on his critical damage stat, which is really great. And on bonus, he can actually improve his damage up to like a lot. Okay, I mean, like, if he has 300% of critical damage stat, that means like he's going to deal 50% more damage to the opponent, which is so good. There's a 50% additional multiplier, plus there is a really good base attack multiplier on his second skill, second version. He's nearly going to annihilate any sort of single target unit right out there in the PvP content. Whereas for in the PvE content, yes, he's still going to deal a lot of damage, but still he might have kind of problem in one-shotting the, you know, like boss units. Okay, but still he is going to deal a massive amount of damage. Okay, so the two runes that is going to really aid him in his progression is going to be the destruction set plus wild set or berserk set. That's it. All right, so late game is going to be the berserk set indeed, if you really manage to get a lot of critical damage stat from his sub skills, or I mean, like, the additional stats or the substats. All right, so there we go. That's how it is. What about for the primary stat? Okay, what sort of primary stats should you really give into his like second slot, the fourth slot, and the sixth slot? If you're asking me that, then on the second slot, please try to go with the attack percentage boost. I mean, like, more attack he has, the more damage he's gonna deal. You can even go with the speed boost as well if you really want to make him a little bit faster unit, but I would say just try to go with the attack percentage unit, because like obviously he's going to have a lot of critical damage and he's going to deal a lot of damage, so you would really love to have that one. Just try to pair him up with a very amazing energy boosting character unit or hero unit like Demonic Swordsman, and it's gonna be fine. Okay, it's gonna be fine. And the next one is going to be the fourth slot. Obviously, no questions asked, it's going to be the critical damage stat, right? The primary stat should be the critical damage. Okay, higher the critical damage he has, the more optimal his all skill sets is going to be. Okay, so that's that in the critical damage. Okay, so try to go in the critical damage stat on his fourth slot. Try to get a lot of critical damage stat right off the bat. The next one is going to be the sixth slot, okay, which is going to be attack percentage boost. Attack percentage boost on the sixth slot again, so that like he can actually deal a lot of damage. There is nothing sort of like status effect that is really going to apply on the opponent. Like, yeah, he can actually apply that def break, he can apply that slow. So for that one, try to get him a lot of like hit percentage boost on his additional stat if you possibly can, but still is more into like, you know, raw damage output. Okay, so just try to give him a lot of attack percentage boost and the critical damage boost. So there we go, guys. Second slot, attack percentage boost. Fourth slot, critical damage boost. And sixth slot, it's gonna be attack percentage boost again. So attack percentage boost, critical damage boost, and attack percentage boost. And what's gonna be the additional stats or substats? Okay, please try to go with the speed boost, critical damage boost, critical rate boost, and the attack percentage boost. Okay, so these are the four main substats that's gonna really help him out in dishing out a lot of damage, especially the critical damage. It's going to be very, very important in his part, because that is the main stat that's gonna really make his skills very, very effective indeed against the opponents. Okay, so that's what I really hope for him, guys. You know, like, hope to you guys about him. Okay, so that's that, guys. That's really that. More into like his build up, I think he's more of a like a PvP unit compared to the PvE content. unit, but yes, he has a lot of like potential to be a very amazing PvE content unit as well, because of that defense break he has, the more damage multiplier, there we go. And he's not only gonna apply that damage multiplier to himself, but to the entire ally team as well. Okay, so if you can pretty much combine him, or let's say join him or team him up with very great nukers in this game like Eve and Zeus, things are gonna go really good. Okay, that's that, guys. This is it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button to keep on enjoying the contents of my channel. See you guys in the next video.